Hey friends, welcome to SKETCHFLIX episode 4. We're going to do Memoirs of a Geisha today, and I brought along my special friend Geisha, Steve.
Hi everybody.
Steve is a fully qualified foreign geisha.
Oh my gosh.
No, look, I love Memoirs of a Geisha.
You do.
I've kind of been waiting to do this one because I've been doing Disney movies up until now.
Waiting as if like somebody didn't give you permission to not do it.
Yeah, well me, I didn't.
Oh my god.
No, I've been doing the animated classics because I honestly thought it would be easier to pull visual cues from an animated cartoon.
Right.
Since I don't tend to draw in any kind of realism.
Yeah, but okay.
I thought it would be easier, but having done this now, I realized that I could probably just do it with any film and be fine. Because I guess I'm pulling the ideas, it's practice, blah, blah, blah. We've been over all of this before.
It's all just kind of inspired anyway.
Yeah, and I love Memoirs of a Geisha. I remember going to watch it.
In the movies?
In the movies. I was just telling Steve this funny story. So it's an epic movie, right?
Yeah.
It takes a long time.
Yeah.
I went with my mother, and I was just waiting. I could not wait.
Did you read the book?
Yes, I did. Oh, better story about that
The one book that you've read in your entire life?
Okay, so I saw the movie first, and I thought this is definitely a book worth reading now.
Oh, so you did backwards.
Well, it depends on which way.
Okay.
I read it. I actually did a school report on it.
Okay.
On the book.
Like a book report.
Here's the best part. I read the book after I did that report. I did the report based on the movie.
Oh, no.
Then I read the book and realized there were big differences.
You know what though? I've totally done that.
Like, her eyes in the book are this cool grey colour.
Right.
And here I am saying in my report
Blue eyes.
she had blue eyes.
You just thought you were so smart, didn't
I did.
you?
I thought, I can't be bothered reading, I'm not going to do this.
And what did your teacher say?
Nothing. Oh, good marks for it.
Oh,
Does it really matter in the end anyway?
You know, I don't know
Sorry
why...
to all the teachers out there.
Yeah, sorry to all the teachers out there, but, you know.
My stepdad's a teacher, and I say it to him too.
I mean, I was a teacher for a while, too. Look, I know why they make us do all that stuff, and it is because it teaches, you know, good... I don't know, it's like good practice. It helps with grammar and
I get that.
And spelling
Yeah, I
and
know.
punctuation and stuff, which is really good. And, of course, yes, you use your imagination, and some people really like it, but... Man, there were some times where I'd have to do a book report and nothing seemed interesting to me.
I get what it was good for, but this woman was just assuming that I had like 16 spare hours in a day to read. I'm a slow reader.
You are a slow reader, maybe.
So I just don't.
Yeah, and also though, like... Yeah, but like in high school or whatever, I mean, you were also like in a dance course, so...
Yeah, I went to performing arts high school, so we were so busy dancing for hours and hours a day. Like, who'd want to read?
I know, and what have you made most of your money doing? Reading or
Dancing,
Okay.
right? So I did it all right.
There you go. Sorry,
No,
miss.
look, the first story... No, I'm not sorry at all. The first story that we got away from took my mum to go and see it.
Okay.
I mean, she took me to see it at the cinema, and I was so excited. I couldn't have been more excited for anything except for Harry Potter at the cinema. And it's going, and I'm just enjoying every minute of it. It feels like it took 15 minutes. And right at the end, I asked my mum how she liked it, and she goes, "Oh, it was long."
I mean, she's not wrong.
And I was personally offended that she didn't enjoy my movie. I mean, I hyped it up way too much. I don't think she really could have cared less.
But why were you, like, without reading the book, why were you so hyped? Because it was Japanese?
She looked beautiful, and it was Japanese.
So
I've always had an
based
affinity.
off of the visuals, like
Yeah.
off the visuals in the
Yeah, look, I don't pretend.
trailer.
I don't pretend, but I judge a book by its cover.
You certainly don't pretend that. You absolutely do that. Let me tell you, I have been trying to get him to take me to see The King and I, the national touring production of The King and I,
This is
for
recent.
over a year.
It's not true. It surfaced in 2016 and it came back a couple weeks ago.
Okay, so 2016, and what are we in now?
But it wasn't an ongoing thing.
Whatever.
I thought once it went away, it went away.
Well, here's the deal. Like, it was at, I think it was at the Amundsen, which is in LA, and then it went away. It's a tour, and now it's come back to Southern California again at a different theater, and so now I really want to go.
If it was Memoirs of a Geisha, the musical.
But here's the deal. The point is that I'm like, you don't know anything about the story, you don't know the music or whatever. He's like, I judge a book by its cover. I'm not gonna like it. He saw like, you know, a little like clip online, and he absolutely had no idea. And I'm like, you love costumes. Look at this big old dress. Nothing.
Yeah, I liked the
Nothing to do
costume
with it.
But then I'd seen it because you showed it to me.
Yeah. But I was like, how could you go see The Sound of Music, the musical, but you can't go see The King and I? Same people.
Already knew I liked that music.
Rodgers and Hammerstein, same. Yeah, but you've never even given King and I a try. And you like Asia.
This happens a lot, and we did this exact same thing happen with The Hunchback of Notre Dame, which is my favorite musical of all time.
Right.
Bar
So-
The Bodyguard and Legally Blonde.
Okay, so for a little backstory for those of you out there who are like, The Hunchback, it's a Disney movie. It is a Disney movie, and cats are at it again. Always.
Stop.
Always. Right when we don't need them to be this way, they are.
I've been silent for about 45 minutes. Oh well.
That's what it's like.
Just talk over them.
Anyway, The Hunchback of Notre Dame was a Disney movie, and then Disney Theatricals took it to Germany to do a production in Germany about like maybe 10, 15 years ago. And then about, in 2014? 2015?
Yeah. 14.
14, they the La Jolla Playhouse decided to revisit it, and they did a production of it that never ended up going to New York, but
It went to the Paper Mill Playhouse.
I did in New Jersey. But anyway, so point is, James didn't want to go see it, and then he went with me to see it, and now it's his favorite musical.
I was bawling my eyes out.
Yeah, it's so good.
And I listen to it all the time when I'm working. Sing along.
Yeah, the music's good.
I play Esmeralda and the Hunchback in my version. But no, look, I do judge a book by its cover, so sometimes I can jump the gun. I can have a really interesting idea about something and I know next to nothing about it. That's a family trait. Steve knows that. I'm working on it. Next. But that's the weird thing is
It's
that
a test of patience.
for this, I had totally judged it in the most positive light I could, and I was ecstatic before I even knew what it
That
was
was also
about.
because you were studying Japanese and you knew that you already liked Japanese culture.
I don't think, was I at that point? I think I might have been. I loved it. I've always had an affinity for Japanese culture. We learnt it, my mum used to work in the resort. It's like a tourist resort. When we lived in the Northern Territory, and we had a lot of Japanese tourists come through. So we, in kindergarten, in grade 1, would learn Japanese.
Oh.
So eventually, should we end up working in the one place you could work up there,
You
we would have some Japanese skills.
Right.
So I think ever since I was a little boy, I've just loved it. And then you start learning about, Harajuku fashion, and then I went into that fashion design phase for myself, and I've always loved it.
So you're just already super obsessed with it.
So I was, yeah. And I knew that just because it was about geisha, that I would love it.
Regardless of the story, you just knew that you would like it.
Yeah, it could have been the most boring thing ever, and I would have purposefully come out and told everyone that I loved it.
Even though you
Just
were
to
probably-
save face.
Just to save face.
But jokes on everyone because I did really love it. I think my mom just thought it went for too long.
It is a little bit of a long story, but it's a good story.
It is.
I
love
will
it.
say this, though.
I know what you're about to say.
There are many beautiful Japanese actresses out there.
I knew it.
So why not use them?
Let's not go there,
All right.
is my answer to that.
Okay.
I do agree. I do agree that if you are going to do something very specific to a culture, and we've had this talk before as well anyway, and you always see it pop up, and let's not go into the race thing, but Steve is a good person to talk to about it because he's Hispanic, so
Yep.
he gives me that angle that sometimes I don't necessarily see. But we were seeing this little article about a little white girl that wanted to have a little Japanese geisha party.
This is literally like when we landed right after our trip
yeah.
to Japan. Yeah.
Last year.
Yeah.
And she was in the news because they were saying there was cultural appropriation. Now, the interesting thing about Japanese is that they actually saw it as a big honor for them to have had a culture that was so worth representing for that little girl's birthday.
Right. Now, here's the thing about this is what I love about like Japanese culture, and is that they kind of take all the different I guess the good things or the best of every other culture, and they just kind of improve upon them. They put their little like Japanese touch on it, which to me I think improves on it significantly.
Yeah, they're just like the master innovators of culture.
Definitely. The way I like describe Tokyo, because a lot of people are like, well, what's Tokyo like? Is it a really big, big city? How busy is it? And it's a big city, and it's beautiful. And of course, you've probably all seen, pictures of Shibuya, the big crosswalk. But the way I describe Tokyo, I describe it as if it's as if all the highways of the world intersected in one city, and that's Tokyo. So they take just the best of every single culture and they put their touch on it and make it just really beautiful and exciting and thrilling.
And it's really interesting to see what things don't make the cut.
Right.
Or like the buns for the burgers don't make the cut.
Yeah.
If you go to a restaurant and order a hamburger, you're not getting the bun.
Right.
So they've eliminated the carbs for you, which is great because it comes in the rice.
Right.
So you don't need the bun. It's really interesting. I've loved living in Japan. I know we talk about it all the time, but it is a super interesting place. And when you said when you're just talking about Tokyo, I've always been fascinated by the fact that there are, how many people in Tokyo? Like over 20 million?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like more than the entirety of Australia, I think,
Yeah.
lives in that one city that we used to, travel through all the time. I had no idea. Like, it doesn't look like there is.
No, because there's, like, they're super duper respectful of other people's space. Yeah, the train gets full, but
Oh, that's where you find them all.
yeah, they're all always on.
19 million of the people are on the train at 5 p.m.
Yeah, smushed in there like sardines. But for the most part, everybody's like super respectful of the other person. I mean, how many times like did you lose your wallet living in Japan?
4 times. I say this all the time.
4 times, and did you?
Every single time it had all the money in it and nothing was stolen, and so
returned to
far
you.
I know there's no clone of me.
And returned to you
And returned to me.
in perfect condition.
Yeah, actually, I left, and this is the funny thing too, because in my culture, I know Australians. Shout out to the Australians. We don't tip, and it was super uncomfortable for me to. This was my first contract too, so I was 18, and I went over there, and I was meeting Americans, and they were talking about tipping, and I thought, oh, do we do that here? This is something we didn't cover in class. Like, what do you do? So we were at Caesarea, and I tried to leave the change, and the poor little Japanese woman was running down the street trying to give me back the 20 yen. Yeah, I thought I'd like really offended her by not giving her enough, but she was just trying to give it back to me because you don't tip there. I mean, that's a culture that really values the work that they do, and that, you know, it's an honor for them to serve.
Well, it's all about honor.
It's all about honor and respect.
Yes, and respect for yourself. Respecting other people then in turn becomes respect for yourself.
It's really quite an amazing culture. I've said this all the time, but if you do get a chance to go, please just go. Even if you don't think it's going to be your thing. I know some parts of my family were a bit hesitant to travel to Tokyo because they thought, oh, I'm not going to like the food, or I can't speak the language. Yeah. But they end up having an absolutely amazing time, and my mum was always asking to go back.
Well, and the thing that's cool about the Japanese is that if you don't know, or if you're confused, or if you don't know where you're going, or if you're like, hey, where's this, you know, whatever such and such site or location, you go up to any Japanese person and they might seem, you know, just like, if you're going to judge a book by its cover, they might seem like they're just interested, but the minute that you ask them for help, they will go completely out of their way to help you and to make sure that you get to wherever it is that you need to go. And they will do their best to speak to you in their broken English or the best English that they have. You know what I mean? And you find a way to communicate, which is, it's really...
I think the
very,
saying
very cool.
above and beyond came from Japan.
Yeah, literally.
That's the entire Japanese culture. But yeah, we're getting to the end of this as well. I love Memoirs of a Geisha. I love everything about Japanese culture. Still yet to find something I don't like.
I have a feeling we're going to have to watch this movie tonight.
Maybe.
Wish me luck.
It's just like for our move, because we're almost we're almost ready to go.
Almost, but nothing's packed.
Let's just take the cats and go. Start again.
Yeah, what? No way.
I can't be bothered.
I know. We're stressed out.
So I hope you learn a lot about us in this episode. I'm learning not to judge a book by its cover. I don't want that to be the thing that you take away from this.
Is that it?
Yeah.
I like your drawings. I think they're really pretty. There's that one that we just watched that was super pretty. So,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Thanks for having me.
Bye.
Bye.